Greetings, everyone. Well, you may recall, I guess about a month ago, I did a two-part package opening video from Frank, also known as itsfrank0. And part of that was he had sent a letter which contains a lot of questions and such that he wanted me to answer as part of the package opening video. And originally I did. I actually did answer all the questions, but those of you who watched that will know that I had some issues with my capturing software. I decided to just crash right in the middle of the package opening, and I lost the first bit of the actual package opening and the part where I answered all his questions. So on the one hand, it was good that it was only the question answering part that was lost and not so much of the package opening, because that's really the main part of it, because this part I could redo easily. But I kind of put it off because, well, I wanted to kind of forget some of the questions he'd asked me so I could come at it fresh again. And, well, I think we waited long enough. So, answering Frank's questions from his package, from the package opening a while ago. I'll put links to the package opening down in the description, by the way, for those of you who have not seen it and would like to get the full, complete saga story. In fact, you probably want to watch that before you watch this, because I don't think there's any spoilers in here, but it doesn't hurt to be sure. Alrighty, answering Frank's questions today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. Alrighty, so here we go. So this, of course, relates directly to the package which we saw in the two-part package opening video. So I'll just read everything that's on here. It says, I made a list of the stuff for Rosie. The reason why I made a list for Rosie was so that it would be easy for you. Well, that makes sense. And the list was right here, which I think I actually go over the list in the video. But it's pretty obvious which stuff is for Rosie because you just saw all that stuff in the Christmas with Rosie 2011 video a couple of videos ago. Alrighty, so I have some questions for you. Did you ever buy a VHS, Laserdisc, or DVD and you woke up and found out that it was all a dream? Yeah, I have dreams like that a lot, actually. Most often that I am incredibly rich all of a sudden for no apparent reason, and then I wake up and discover that it's all a dream. Yeah, I can't think of any specific examples off the top of my head, but I know there have been cases where there's been like a big box set of something, a really expensive set of something that I've had my eye on and really wanted, and sometimes I would have a dream that I got it and be all excited, and then I'd wake up and realize that it was just a dream. Yeah, I hate it when that happens. But yeah, definitely, I've had dreams like that before. Being a big collector, it's only natural. What movie that you saw that got you all pissed off? X3? Anyone? X3? X3. Yeah. I assume you mean pissed off that it was just such a horrible movie. Yeah, X-Men 3 was definitely the big one for me. One of the very earliest Multimedia Chronicles videos I ever did was actually my two-part rant about why I hated X3 so much and feel that it basically shat on the entire franchise up to that point. And, well, yeah, things haven't got much better since. Well, I would definitely rewatch Wolverine or X-Men First Class, but X3 I'll watch once in a while when I want to punish myself. But, or just for the handful of good aspects of it, you know, like Beast and Angel and, well, anything with Wolverine, basically. I mean, Hugh Jackman is awesome as Wolverine. But other movies that pissed me off, I don't know. I'm pretty forgiving when it comes to movies, honestly. I mean, I can usually find some good in even the crappiest movies and be entertained in some way. I remember one that irritated me was Fear.com. Did you ever see Fear.com a while back? Horror movie. Borrowing not so liberally from The Thing, or not The Thing, The Ring. So I was just looking at some info about The Thing prequel Blu-ray that's coming out shortly. But yeah, borrowing a lot of elements from The Ring and that sort of thing that basically if you, in this case, it was if you saw this website, you would die in 7 days and stuff like that. The problem I had with it was not so much the core concept, but just the fact that it was really uninterestingly directed. I felt that the concept had more potential than was realized in the final product, and I think part of that was because it had about 7 producers. Yeah, when you get a lot of producers on a movie, you know that there's going to be a lot of people thinking that they're creative, trying to put their fingers in the pie and protect their investment. And it's like, oh, you should do this, oh, you should do that. And it ends up being more a producer's movie than the director's movie. Well, that said, whoever it was that directed it really did a crappy job. I mean, I remember sitting there watching it. I saw it for free. It was when I worked at the movie theater, so I didn't actually pay money to see it. But I remember watching it in the theater at the time thinking, this is such amateurish directing. I mean, this person does not know how to direct a horror film. I mean, even with that shitty script, he could have made it more visually interesting and like visually tense and such. There was potential there, but it was just not realized. So I wouldn't say so much that it got me pissed off, but it got me very frustrated just seeing this potential, this interesting concept. You know, a pretty decent cast too, as I recall, and just squandering it. You know, so yeah, occasionally there will be one that irritates me in that way. And X3 and Fear.com are probably the big 2 for me, off the top of my head. Do I like Quantum Leap? Yes, I do like Quantum Leap. Honestly, I haven't seen a lot of it. I kind of watched it sporadically when it was originally on, but being a big fan of time travel stories just in general, yeah, I absolutely liked Quantum Leap. I thought Scott Bakula and Dean Stockwell made a very, you know, likable duo in that, and I definitely like to see more of it. One of these days I'll get around to picking up the DVD sets and enjoy those. I know that the DVD sets have had a lot of music changes, which isn't surprising. They had a lot of licensed music in it, but but the episodes are otherwise uncut. I know my good friend Stoudman is a huge Quantum Leap fan. That's like one of his all-time favorite shows. And yeah, if you ever happen to you know, chat with him at some point or send him a package or talk to him through one of his videos or whatever, yeah, ask him about Quantum Leap sometime. He'll talk your ear off, I'm sure. Do I like Kid Video? Yes. I'm surprised you asked that. I wasn't sure if you would have even heard of that one. It's kind of obscure. Yeah, I used to watch Kid Video pretty much every week when it was originally on. It was part of the regular block of Saturday morning cartoons that I would watch. I always enjoyed it. I mean, I was just kind of getting into rock music and the whole music video thing at the time. I guess, well, music videos themselves were pretty new at the time, and the whole idea of mixing the music video in with the kind of action-adventure cartoon and stuff like that was cool to me. And then, of course, it was later done with Gem to a much larger extent, I think. But yeah, of course, with Kid Video, it mixed in live action. It was kind of like Captain N meets Gem. I guess for those of you who don't know what Kid Video is, it's kind of a similar idea. It's like, you know, Captain N has the kid who plays video games getting sucked into Nintendo Land and being their champion. It was kind of like that with Kid Video, where basically he was, you know, in a rock band or something, and he got sucked into like this cartoon world where he was like the hero of this cartoon world. But then having the rock music aspect of it was very Gem. You know, they would always have a music video or two in the show and stuff like that. So, yeah, sadly I don't think we've had any video releases of Kid Video. Maybe 1 or 2 random episodes on VHS back in the day. But no new DVD release or anything like that. Do you remember Maxie's World? I do not. Yes, even I have not seen or heard of everything. But no, sorry, that one doesn't ring a bell. It may have been a little bit after my time. Most of my sort of knowledge comes from the 80s, like early 90s and earlier. So it's kind of like goes early 90s, all through the 80s, and then, you know, some 60s and 70s stuff. But mostly 80s and like the full spectrum of the 80s and early to mid 90s is my main knowledge. And at that point, as most of you watching will know, my main thing has always been action-adventure cartoons more than sort of the more kiddie stuff. as it were, or the comedy stuff, a little bit of the comedy stuff, I guess, but mostly more action adventure, sci-fi, fantasy type thing. That was sort of my main area of interest, and still is. So sadly, no, I'm sorry, I do not know Maxie's World. Did I see the movie called The Black Cauldron? Yes, I actually almost bought the DVD recently of that. I remember seeing it back when it was fairly new. Excuse me, but honestly, excuse me, I'm tired. It's late, as usual. It's always late when I do these. But, yeah, honestly, I don't remember much about it. I remember it being kind of a big deal because it was the first big animated movie that Disney had done for a little while, and it was kind of a darker, more serious one than a lot of their other animated movies, and they were kind of breaking the mold a little bit. I think that was from their so-called black period, where they were doing a lot of darker stuff. I keep meaning to do a video on that subject, basically talking about some of the darker movies that they did in that, specifically the ones that I have in my collection. I thought it was a great experimental period for Disney, and I almost wish that they would have another black period where they would do some other dark stuff, because I think Disney does the dark stuff really well. And some of my all-time favorite movies are from that very brief period where they experimented with more serious fare. Yeah, so I have seen The Black Cauldron, but I honestly don't remember much about it because it was so long ago. I mean, it was literally when it was new, so we're talking like 29 years, thereabouts, something like that, almost 30 years now. Yeah. Did you see the movie called The Land Before Time? Funny enough, I'm a huge fan of Don Bluth, and I've seen pretty much all of his movies except that one. It was one I always meant to see, but I think I kind of got put off of it because of all the direct-to-video sequels. I really had no interest in all of those. They seemed very fluffy and, little kiddie. But I understand the original movie is quite a bit different in tone. It's a lot more, serious and edgy, like a lot of his movies. I'm a huge fan of things like The Secret of Nim. Big fan of Dragon's Lair and Space Ace, the Laserdisc games. I played those just fanatically when I was a kid, especially Dragon's Lair, the first Dragon's Lair. Love the first Dragon's Lair. I've owned it or own it on several formats. Currently, I have it on Amiga, the old Amiga computers. I've got the 3DO version. I rented the Sega CD version back when I had a Sega CD, and I also have the Blu-ray version. I love Dragon's Lair and just Don Bluth's stuff in general. I think the most recent one of his that I have is Titan AE, which was also quite good. And but I've also seen All Dogs Go to Heaven and An American Tail. I didn't see the second American Tail. There's probably a couple of other ones in there somewhere that I'm missing, but I've seen sort of his big notable ones, except for The Land Before Time. I don't know why I haven't got around to that one yet, but I will one of these days. Did you see the movie called Eraserhead? Yes, absolutely. First watching Twin Peaks back in the early 90s. I, of course, took a much greater interest in
just the overall works of David Lynch. I had never really heard much about him prior to that, and that was kind of my introduction to his stuff. And I didn't realize that I had already seen some of his work. I had seen The Elephant Man when I was younger, and I had also seen Dune, both the movie version and the miniseries version, meaning the extended miniseries version of the movie, not I mean, I saw the Sci-Fi Channel one that came out years later, but this was, way before that came out. So when I got interested in Twin Peaks, I actually tracked down a copy of Eraserhead at the local video rental store and rented it and checked it out. I watched it once myself and just found it completely bizarre and twisted and disturbing, and then I showed it to a friend of mine who was also a big Twin Peaks fan, and he found it completely twisted and bizarre and disturbing, and yeah, I really liked it. I actually had it on DVD a little while ago. It was one of the ones that I sold in 2010. I want to get the lime green set that actually has a bunch of David Lynch's movies and a whole bunch of extras in it and stuff, and Eraserhead is included in that. But yeah, I love Eraserhead. I found that while I found it completely bizarre and disturbing when I first saw it, it's really grown on me over the years, and now it's easily one of my favorite David Lynch movies, right up there with Twin Peaks and all that. And Blue Velvet is probably my favorite of his movies. But
because it's kind of like a prototype Twin Peaks. But yeah, I love Eraserhead. I think it's a great movie. Do you like Carmen Sandiego, video games, live-action game shows, and or cartoon? Yeah, absolutely. I didn't really play a lot of the games when I was a kid. I have one of them. I actually still own it. It's in a box somewhere. I have Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego for the Apple IIc. And I remember it was one of the things that it came with was an almanac. So one of the big deals about Carmen Sandiego when it originally came out, of course, was its educational angle. So not only was it this cool mystery game, but it also had an educational angle. It would teach you about, the world and geography and different cultures and stuff like that. And it was pretty cool. I used to watch the game show quite a bit. I really liked that one a lot. And I understand, and I saw the cartoon once in a while. I didn't really watch it very much. I mainly just, I played a little bit of the computer game, and then one of the, and then watched the game show fairly frequently, and just saw the cartoon once in a while. I noticed that the complete series of the cartoon is actually coming out on DVD very shortly, so that's pretty cool. I might actually pick that one up because I think that's one I could probably enjoy with Rosie when she's a little bit older. And I think that's the end of the questions. And you just said, I pretty much have this stuff, and there's a few things that I don't want. I made a copy of cartoon shows for you and for Rosie. There might be episodes of cartoons that might not play. I apologize for that. Yeah, that's just, that's what happens with burned discs. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. It's just kind of the way it goes. But, no. From Frank, YouTube, it's Frank0. Alrighty, well, that is it for the questions. Thank you very much once again, Frank, for the awesome package. Well, awesome packages. Both packages you sent have been awesome. I know Rosie is definitely enjoying. I should mention, actually, since doing at the time of filming this, it's a couple nights after the Christmas presents opening with Rosie. Ever since then, she has insisted on sleeping with Sonic and Tails. She likes to snuggle with them. They're her new snuggle buddies when she's sleeping. So she's definitely enjoying those two. I took the tags off of them as well, so it wouldn't be so scratchy when she's sleeping next to them. But yeah, she really loves that. She absolutely insisted on sleeping with both of them. So that's cool. She always likes to have a couple of stuffies, as she calls them, when she sleeps, and those are her current favorites. So thank you very much from me and from Rosie. Alrighty, well, that is it from me to you for now. Sorry it took so long to get around to doing the answering your questions thing. I just been sidetracked and tired and busy and holidays. What can I say? But thank you very much for being patient and waiting, and for all the awesome stuff you sent. So hope you had a great holiday, and that you have a great year ahead. And that goes for everybody else watching as well. Alrighty. Well, next time, well, we'll just wait and see. I'm not actually sure which one I'm going to do next. But next time, other stuff. See you then. Until then, thanks for watching, and sayonara.